Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time seeing my face, hi, I'm Jalisa, the alien in the room. And why am I giving you goth vibes? I don't know. Maybe it's because this is a serious matter. This is serious business that we have to discuss, serious business to attend to. So in today's video, I am sharing things that I wish I knew before law school. If you're considering going to law school, whether you're in high school, undergrad, or you just want to start completely fresh with a whole new career, this is the video for you. This is some of the things that I've learned from being a law school student, my 3 years of hell, and just a warning to maybe some of you, but maybe a little bit of a preparation for what you're in for as well. So let's go ahead and get into the video. So just a little bit of background about my law school experience or law school career. I am currently a 3L in my last semester of law school. God willing, I graduate on time. I'm trying to get out of here. I can't do any more of it. I'm trying. And I am currently in a concentration of intellectual property, or what people will call it is IP, which kind of goes hand in hand with entertainment law. And entertainment law kind of gets broken down into categories such as sports law, music law, fashion law, art law, kind of all of that is encompassed within intellectual property. And what that means is really just protecting a person's idea, or protecting an invention, protecting your secret sauce, your secret recipe, or protecting even the layout of your restaurant or something. So it has basically everything to do with protecting an idea. And that's where copyright, trademark, and patent laws kind of come into effect. That's the kind of law that I'm interested in. And that kind of relates to other fields of business, because no matter what the business is, it's going to have an idea. Or no matter what the invention is, someone needs to protect their invention. I am in my 3rd year of law school in New York, but technically I did 4 years of law school, because I did law school in Australia 1 year there before I decided to come to New York and start completely fresh and do my 3 years here as well. So this is my 4th year in law school. You can take away some things from me. You can definitely learn from some of my mistakes. My first thing that I want to make you guys aware of is that law school is not a plan B. I think that's the main takeaway. Law school is not a plan B. It is majorly a plan A. So if you're thinking of going to law school, most of the time you're probably thinking that your career is going to be a lawyer. Period. So when I say that, I do want you to do some self-reflection and think about your interests in life, okay? Law school is not for everyone. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of writing. It's a lot of technicalities. And I want you to think back, like just close your eyes for a little bit and just think back on your life and think back on what you found interesting, what were your hobbies, and what do you really have a passion for? Like what keeps you up, or what can make you stay up at night? Were those things academic related or creative? That's your next question. Academic or creative? Like academic wise, it could probably be like you like reading books, or maybe you like organization. You maybe like collecting or something. Anything that has to do with organization, finding structure. If those were those kind of hobbies that you're interested in, then yeah, maybe law school might be a good choice for you. But if it was more creative, like you like singing and dancing and drawing and painting, or whatever you like to do, you might want to rethink law school. Law school is a lot more structure than these creative environments. They say law school is hard for a reason. Med school is hard for a reason. A lot of master's programs are hard for a reason. You really have to be prepared to go full speed ahead with it. And that's why it's definitely not a plan B. For me, being a creative in law school, I would advise other creatives to maybe be a little bit cautious. I think it is an environment that can stifle your creativity. You'll find that, you have to dress a certain way to fit in. You have to talk a certain way to fit in. You want to seem like an academic. So maybe you might have to struggle to fit into that category. Now, if you're saying that you're a straight A student, you've always had no problems with academics, you can handle this. Trust me, that's me too. Okay, so I am a straight A student. I have no problem academically. Like, I've always been right there at top of my class, right there with you. But if there's a little part of you that feels like you have this creative thing that tugs at your heartstrings, you might want to go follow that, or you might even try to make it a side hobby. Because let me tell you now, if you go to law school, you're going to have a hard time trying to balance that creative with the academic. And I've done it for 3 years and it's not easy. If that hasn't scared you off yet, let's talk about the type of environment that law school creates, or the type of environment that you may excel best in. So of course, when we talk about environment, we could talk about rankings, which is like the law schools that are top tier, which are your top of the line law schools, which means possibly when you graduate, you got a law job lined right up for you, which is probably what most people want. And then realistically, not everyone is going to be in the top tier. So then you have those schools that aren't top tier, but they could still have really great programs. The school that I am in has a really great intellectual property program. It's like one of the top in the nation. So it might not be the best school in the world, but it's good for what I'm interested in. It has a lot of connections for what I'm interested in, which is fashion law. Right. That's a part of it. But the other thing that I really wanted to bring to your attention is basically maybe law school in the United States versus law school in another country. So because I've done 1 year of law school in Australia, it's usually something that people love to hear about. When I put it on my resume, it always gets like, so why law school there? Honestly, I went there because I wanted to explore. I was still young. I wanted to study, but I also wanted to explore and be closer to places where I could vacation to. Let's be honest. It's like, I don't have bills. I don't have kids. I don't have nothing holding me back. So go to Australia. But I want you to just be aware, if you're ever thinking of coming back to New York, you probably have to do extra schooling. So Australia, on the other hand, is really good because it's still a very relaxed environment. It's not as competitive as it is in the United States. Like in the United States, there's this image of like, we see legal shows, or you see How to Get Away with Murder or For the People, and you think it's cutthroat like that. And it's not exactly cutthroat in your face. It's more behind the scenes, underhanded, where there's kind of like a sneakiness to it. But in Australia, it's definitely a lot more relaxed environment. There's no such thing as cold calling. Barely ever is anything as cold calling, which just means that professors will call on you on the spot and ask you to tell them about a case, or ask you to answer a question that you might not even know the damn answer to, and now you there stumbling, looking around like, how do I answer this damn question? So there's not really so much cold calling. It was a relaxed environment. There's no like counselors that are on you to do this. And I think one of the main things that I took away from law school in Australia was that becoming a lawyer wasn't seen as the end all be all. Law school in Australia didn't necessarily force you to want to practice and become a lawyer and work in a firm. Whereas here in the United States, the focus is get in a firm, become a lawyer, make some money. Once you get into law school, I would recommend that you find a minority club, a minority setting, safe place where you can feel comfortable. Maybe your school has like a minority office or a diversity office that you can hang out with and meet new people. Anything minority related, I definitely suggest you get involved with those things. That will definitely help you adjust to the environment even more. I know a lot of times people hate having to flock to minority or flocking to what's comfortable because they're like, no, I want to make friends with everyone there. And I think it's better to meet someone that's kind of on your same level. You know, you've probably had the same experiences, and it's what's understood doesn't need to be explained, in a sense. You know, like you guys know where each other is coming from, probably similar backgrounds, similar demographics, and you might feel like isolated in a setting where most of your classmates might be white, or white. Most of your classmates might be white and there's barely any minorities to begin with. Because one all year, I wouldn't say I had a lot of friends, and that really put a damper on how I felt about law school. It felt like I was alone, and you don't want to feel like you're alone. The best thing you can feel like is that you're struggling in the trenches with someone. As a one out, I want to warn you, do not pay too much attention to your fellow 1Ls. I think that was probably one of the best things that happened to me, not having friends. So I didn't have people that were like forcing down my throat, you gotta know this, you gotta know that, do this, do this, do that, do that. That was kind of a blessing in disguise. You're gonna be in an environment of people with different backgrounds, obviously, different points of their life. Some are mothers and some are just wives, or some are just fresh out of undergrad. They're gonna have all these different opinions and confliction, and you're gonna feel like, oh, I need to keep up with this person, I need to keep up with what that person's doing. And I want you to remember that it's still the blind leading the blind. They've never been to law school before. They're here just like you. Don't give their opinion so much weight that it's law, that their opinion is the only way to do this. Yes, they might have parents who were lawyers, or they might be paralegals, or whatever the case may be, but they're here just like you, and they have to take the same exams just like you come exam day. And they're not going to have mommy and daddy to help, and maybe their paralegal background helps a little bit, sometimes not. But the point is, you don't assume that that person's raising their hand the most in class, so you gotta follow exactly what that person says to do. Sometimes the dumbest people are the loudest. Like, what? There are going to be those people in law school that love to raise their hand and just talk, and it's just like, okay, but I still did better than you on the final, or I still did better than you on the midterm. Because what they can make up, when they're talking, sure, there may be a good bullshitter. Maybe they can answer a question, but it all comes down to what you write on that paper. And if they write around in circles and you're more concise, hey, you're getting the better grade. And along with that, I want to warn you guys to, be on top of your mental health. There's a lot of pressure that comes with entering into law school, and just even maintaining in law school. You see everyone doing these amazing things and you think, I have to keep up. I'm not doing the right thing. And you don't know the answer, but everyone else seems to know what's going on in class. I would just say, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Take a break. A lot of times, the law school students are type A personalities, so we have these big egos, but you have to remember, now you're put in an environment where every single student is an A student. You're competing with other A students. So don't feel as bad as when your grades aren't where you want them to be, and leave your ego at the door. Like, if you feel like you didn't know the answer to a question that was asked in class, don't feel like you have to walk here in shame. And you're in school for a reason. It wasn't meant for you to know all the answers. It's a part of learning. And at the end of the day, most law school exams are anonymous. So when you write your paper, when you write your law school exam, and then they see who the student was, just you participating is enough to like help your grade. It's not about getting the right answers, it's about participation. And then we want to talk about GPA, and your GPA 1L year is important, and is usually mostly considered important when you want to get into big law, which means, you want to start making the big bucks. Firms that are the hardest to get into, I feel like that's probably what you would think about, like How to Get Away with Murder. The creme de la creme. And usually those are where you would be competing with the other students in top tiers. If you want to be that person, then yes, your GPA is going to matter. You probably want to stay on top of it. You probably want to stay up all night studying. But I think as you progress throughout law school, especially for like the creative fields, like say fashion law, most of the time people will tell you that law school is all about your experience. So it's not just about the GPA, but if you can name drop some relevant fashion designers that you've interned for or externed for, and things that are very related to the fashion field, it makes you look like a better candidate still. Most of the time, I don't think employers are really interested in going back and looking at your GPA from 1L year, or even looking at your GPA when you give them your resume. They want to see that you've worked with these people and you've worked with clients that are relevant to their field. If all of this has scared you, but you find yourself in a situation where you're already in law school, you're in your 1L year, you're stressed the hell out, you're trying to figure out exams and everything, and you're just feeling like, I might need to drop out. This isn't for me. I would suggest that you sit in on a 2L class. It could be that the 1L subjects that they give you aren't subjects that you're actually interested in. Because let's be honest, most law schools are going to tell you you have to take torts, contracts, property, con law, civ pro. Maybe sometimes they save that for 2L year. but they're going to tell you a designated list of what your schedule is going to be one all year. And for me personally, that wasn't the subjects that I was interested in. If I had known to sit into a 2L class where I can sit into those intellectual properties and see if it's still interesting to me, that would have been really beneficial, and that would have let me feel less nervous and less apprehensive about continuing law school. I'm not sure if I actually want to enter into a traditional field or whether I want to continue being creative. It's hard to find the happy medium. Fashion law, in a sense, is finding a medium. It's fashion and the law, but it's still different. So I'm still figuring out my life too. Hopefully this helps you come to a decision about whether law school is good for you or not. I haven't graduated yet. I haven't passed the bar. I don't know everything that there is to know, but these are some of the things that I've taken along the way. And I just wanted to share those with you in case you're a creative and thinking about getting into this field. Maybe think again, because yes, it might pay the bills, but you might not even have time to do any of your creative hobbies or any of the things that you love. A lot of us have been conditioned, and I know I have, to think go into a profession that makes money because you want to make money, you want to be successful. I'm going to encourage you to go into a profession that makes you happy. You don't want to live the rest of your life miserable. You just don't. If you have any questions about law school, or if you'd like to talk to me a little bit further about it, feel free to leave it in the comment section, email me, DM me, whatever you want to do, let me know and I'll get back to you, okay? So like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell for notification, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.